Cowboys roll the Raiders. They're now 4-5-1. This is one of those you expect to win. The Raiders aren't good. And if you look around the NFL, there are a lot of teams that get tripped up in these kind of games. So you did what you're supposed to do. You took care of business. It's not one of those, yes. Now, if you beat the Eagles and you put up a couple of impressive games here, I thought they were a playoff caliber team with Micah Parsons. And they might, be on the doorstep of being a playoff team. Quinnen Williams was a great pickup for them. And last night you saw George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. They were great. Dak Prescott was great. And granted, I'm going to grade them on a curve because it was against the Raiders. But still, we've seen the Cowboys play down to, the Cardinals. Now, I would say Carolina, but Carolina has been a pleasant surprise this year. So I have to be fair to them that they're not what they used to be. That, their quality, they went into Green Bay and won. So it's not like we can look at Carolina the way we look at Tennessee. But if you're a Cowboy fan, you got what you needed, an impressive win. And, sometimes you get these trap games where you're gearing up for a bigger game, the Eagles, and you don't take care of business with the Raiders. Here is Dak Prescott talking about the impressive performance by George Pickens last night.
He's a one-of-a-kind guy. Special individual, elite, has a great feel for the game, loves the game, plays the game like a kid. I mean, you when you watch him play, I'm sure, right, the energy, the celebrations, like that's contagious, and the discipline, right, there is a part of that we've all got to tighten up, and GP knows that. Obviously, he responded to it, right, responded to the discipline by the way that he came out and the intensity he played with and the effort he had. But he's a special individual, and like you said, there is a balance to it, though.
And Dallas is going to score points. And I was curious how often they score 30 points or more. Actually, they've scored 33 points or more 29 times since the start of the 2021 season, most in the NFL over that span. And Dallas has 5 games of at least 33 points this season, tied for most in the NFL. The question was going to be their defense. And when they got rid of Micah Parsons, now Quinnen Williams is really good. When Quinnen Williams is really good, he is an all-pro type of defensive tackle. And this is what they need. You need a couple of guys who can help you because that secondary is not very good. So the guys up front have to be a whole lot better to make sure that you don't have a shootout with every single game. But you got Philadelphia, Kansas City, and then Detroit for Dallas. Now they have Minnesota. They also have the Chargers, Washington, and New York. All right, the Chargers are okay. The offensive line is really bad. Washington, we know, is not the same. And New York, I guess Jackson Dart would probably be back for that. But these next 3 games, Philadelphia, it's a Sunday. Then Thursday, they've got Kansas City. And then they've got Detroit. They're at Detroit on December 4th. They host Philadelphia, and they host Kansas City. And Kansas City's got a couple of games coming up. They got the Colts, and you got the Cowboys. And if you don't beat the Colts, we might be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs not making the playoffs. But it's the running back position. And here we are again, because running backs in the first round often treated like a football faux pas, where you go, man, we can't pass up that talent. Bijan Robinson in Atlanta, Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit, and then Vegas takes Ashton Jeanty. Now, I was all for that. Said prior to the draft, that's where I was hoping he would go. It gives Geno Smith kind of a safety valve, somebody who can kind of move the chains a little bit there. And he was very exciting at Boise State. Well, he's 19th in the NFL in rushing yards, 16 in attempts. The problem I have is if you're going to draft somebody that high, then use him. He had 6 carries for 7 yards. Why are you drafting him? Now, I probably would have thrown the ball to Brock Bowers 20 times last night, but in today's NFL, you are seeing teams that are using their running back. And, you get that running back wide receiver there. He should be having 20 to 25 touches, unless they made a mistake. But I'd like to see Ashton Jeanty be able to get more touches. I think that's the one thing that I was noticing. Well, there's a lot of things I noticed with the Raiders where you're like, oh, my God. Geno Smith's regressed here. And I did think they'd be a playoff caliber team. I thought Pete Carroll, Max Crosby, Brock Bowers, Geno Smith has played well. I got Ashton Genty. Okay, I got something to work with here. And then I realized it's not working. Not working at all. Yeah, Paulie.
Pro Football Focus does, mid-season reports on different positions in the sport. They had the Vegas Raiders offensive line ranked the second worst in the NFL this year in production.
Yeah.
Second worst.
That's always where I would go. If I have a high draft pick, unless I'm sold on the quarterback, that's our guy. We got our guy, can't miss with this guy. Well, you can always miss. I would go offense or defensive line. Preferably offensive line. Everything starts there. That dictates everything. If I have an offensive line that can control the ball, my defense isn't on the field. When they do come on, they're going to have the energy. It's not like there's going to be sustainable drives for the opposition. You're going to negate that. But my offensive line dictates everything. You win in the trenches. High school, college, pro, you got to have good linemen. And that's where I would invest. The running back sometimes, and I was all for Saquon Barkley for the Giants because I thought, you know what, Eli Manning has got his safety valve there. And it never worked out. It worked out for Philadelphia. Bijan Robinson, his coach says he's the best player in football. Why hasn't he been able to showcase that? Christian McCaffrey's having a really good year. I think he's second for Offensive Player of the Year. But whenever he's healthy, he's great. It's just that running back is always tricky. And then you got Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. Might be a top 15 pick. But we might be talking about him next year at this time and saying, did somebody get a great pick or did they make a mistake? It's the running back position. Yeah, Paulie.
It's like the Lions taking Jahmyr Gibbs earlier than people thought in that draft, but they already had a good offensive line in place when he showed up there. They had Penei Sewell. They had a good offensive line that he walked into. He didn't walk in like Ashton Genty fighting for his life to get out of the backfield.
Yes, Marvin.
And it's always easier to find a quality running back than a quality offensive lineman. You can find a good, fast, he's 5'10", 220, and can run a 4.3. Those guys are everywhere, and you've seen that with the Chiefs with Isaiah Pacheco. So I could pick up a quality running back in the late rounds of the draft.
Well, like Rico Dowdle. Like he's a really good running back. Yes, Dylan.
Well, I feel like the Patriots did a good job of this year where they drafted Will Campbell in the first round and then Travion Henderson. And they started featuring Henderson like only a few weeks ago, but they're running all over people.
You got to control the line of scrimmage. As I've pointed out many times, as great as Mahomes is, and maybe he's the second greatest quarterback of all time, what's happened when his offensive line isn't good? He is mortal. In those 2 Super Bowls he lost, he got humbled because he had no protection whatsoever. Any great quarterback will tell you, you give me protection, I like my chances, especially with Mahomes. But we've always looked at that offensive line, and it's like, oh, boy. And it was, on display again last year. It was on display against Tampa Bay. The great ones still need a great offensive line or a good offensive line.